The IAB created a separate company called the IAB Tech Lab, and Hearst is a founding member of the IAB Tech Lab. And the mission behind the Tech Lab is to create standards. One of the standards that we think is important to focus on are data standards, audience segment definition standards. Can we make, for example, an in-market auto intender the same universally, so that an advertiser can be confident that there are not varied interpretations when they buy data from Facebook versus Hearst, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or any other platform or media company that they run their campaign. Today, there's a lot of variability in the definition of these audience segments. I think that would be a very useful next step. Google, a giant player in our industry, has the wonderful advantage of owning and operating the ad server that most publishers use, DFP, DoubleClick for Publishers, and also the largest advertising exchange. And there's software that links the two. In fact, those two systems are increasingly harder and harder to discern. They work together in unison, as you would imagine Google and we would want Google to make happen. The challenge, though, in the marketplace, if you take AppNexus or Rubicon, who are two wonderful ad tech companies, can those two companies provide Hearst service on par with how Google can provide Hearst service when Google owns the interface between the ad server, their ad server, and their exchange? Header bidding's the industry's response to that phenomena by allowing an AppNexus or a Rubicon or Amazon, who was an early adopter of header bidding, to work with a publisher to essentially circumvent that and create an auction before Google's auction kicks in. And that's fundamentally what header bidding has become. I've worked in the display advertising business since 1999, so there have been periods of time that over that long stretch of time, and ad fraud, in my experience, has existed and therefore been a problem for the entire time. So ad fraud in what we might call the direct sales world, or in later the ad network world, or later still and currently the ad tech world, exchanges, DSPs, SSPs. So the problem with ad fraud feels like it's scaled more recently, and it also feels like it's harder to detect, easier to mask. It's a problem that has to be solved, and the ad tech companies need to play a big role in this process, because if publishers and advertisers are plagued by this problem, then the open web as we know it will change, I suspect, materially. But I see a lot of smart people and a lot of wonderful companies working on this problem, so I'm very optimistic that it's going to be solved and look very different a year from now than it does or has looked a year ago.